Welcome to your Wordless podcast, the space where we redefine success, self-worth, and transformation. I am Nierras, the soul-centered architect of transformation, helping you unlock your highest potential and build a legacy beyond limits. Now, whether it is self-mastery, career breakthroughs, or wealth creation, this is where change begins. Now let's dive in. So, Bob, can you please share with us, take us through your backstory? What was it like growing up as a Bob Martin?
Well, there's so many little pieces of it, but my folks were immigrants from Eastern Europe. My dad was Hungarian and my mom was Roma Gypsy. And they got to America, and like so many people, just to give you a time frame, my dad was born in 1898.
Okay.
Just to give you, a concept of the history that we're dealing with here.
So we're going way back. Okay.
Yeah. So they got to America, they met here, and they discovered popcorn. It was a brand new taste sensation from Midwest America, and they decided they would go into the popcorn business as their way to get the American dream. And so they bought themselves a popcorn machine and a cotton candy machine. And so that's the atmosphere that I grew up in: amusement parks and carnivals and cotton candy and popcorn and hot dogs and all that. So fast forward for, again, we could do a whole podcast on how I came to be a lawyer, but
Yeah. May- I'd like a condensed version of it. Like, wow, high profile mob
well,
lawyer.
I went to Boston University. I played football there, and in the same week, I lost my high school girlfriend and I broke my ankle. And after that, I didn't go to many classes. I flunked out of Boston University and became a hippie, because we're talking 1969 here. So we're talking the days of Woodstock and Jimi Hendrix and all those rock
Right.
stars.
Yeah.
And there was this one fellow who kept telling me that I should be a lawyer, and he actually went out and got a job and earned the money for the entrance ticket to take the law school test. And he gave me the ticket, and he said, "You should be a lawyer. You should go take the test." And even though I flunked out and I was maybe a mediocre student, I took the test and I got into one law school. They took a chance on me and I became a lawyer.
Wow.
But, it was an interesting thing, because what I remember that we were all everybody that went to this law school, it hadn't even been accredited yet. It was a brand new law school. We were the very first class. It hadn't even been licensed yet.
Oh.
We were taking a chance on it. It was taking a chance on us, and we were all a bunch of misfits and, almost rands and wannabes. And I remember sitting around and they asked me, like, what did I want, what kind of a lawyer I wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know one thing from it. I said, I want to be a judge, I said. But it's funny, I remember that when I said it, first of all, the first thought I had, and, you have the name of your podcast is, you're worthless, right?
Yeah.
The first thought that came into my head was, who are you to want to be a judge, right?
Exactly.
Who are
Yeah.
you? Where do you come off thinking that you could be a judge?
Mm-hmm.
But then something else washed over me, and it was, wow, I have a chance to do something with my life. And so from that point on, I knew that I was in the right place. So I went through law school and I got a job in the district attorney's office. That's the prosecutor
Right.
in Miami. And if anybody's ever seen the movie Scarface
Uh-huh.
or the TV show Miami Vice,
Yes. Yes.
those are the days we're talking about, 1970s. With the cocaine coming from from the Colombian cartels and the
Yeah.
Italians and the Haitians and all that. So I was part of a joint task force, and we wound up hitting the mob for $72 million in a civil case. Money laundering. We were able to grab their bank accounts.
Right.
And I left the DA's office a little after that. And within 2 weeks, who should come to visit me but the head of the Miami families just walked straight into my office. I'll call him Johnny. And he walked right into, past the secretary, walked right in, sat down in front of me. We just looked at each other. And finally he says, you hit us for a lot of money. And I go, yes, sir. And he goes, we got some pretty good lawyers and you beat them. So we want to send you some clients. So I
you're
started,
not worthless, Bob.
I'm not worthless. I
Yeah.
started getting all these clients. They all came in with a lot of cash and I was doing pretty good. I paid my house off by the time I was 32 years old.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh,
I
wow.
mean, and we had a very good arrangement with the mob because I said I wasn't going to do anything illegal, nothing unethical. And I told them it's your advantage to have a lawyer that's respected by the courts, whose word is gold, because that way I can represent you better. And they all said that makes sense and fine.
Yeah.
But I was hanging out with them and, they called them the cocaine cowboy days. They call it for a reason. There was a lot of that stuff around and my behaviors were a little bit excessive.
Well, now I'm intrigued.
So my private life, my personal, my professional life, I was hitting all the bullseyes.
Right.
Respected. Everybody knew me in Miami. They knew me. I had respect. But my personal life was heading downhill. I had an alcoholic wife. My kids were in trouble. She had alcoholic parents. I was doing too much cocaine. It was a mess.
Oh.
And, so I was seeing a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, I was investing in stuff. I had lots of money and I was spending it on this and investing in that. And as fast as I was making it, I was losing it. And it came to a point where I would have had to refinance my house again. Oh, so I mean, that's how far down I was going down this rabbit hole. And I asked the therapist, I said, should I do it? Should I refinance my house? Yeah. And rather than answering me, he grabbed some coins, he threw them on the table, and he started adding up things and making lines on a piece of paper and picking them up and throwing them again. And I'm thinking, hey, this guy's supposed to be my therapist. Now
Has he gone?
he's turned into a tarot card reader or something. What's going on here? But finally, he came up with this number and opened up a book to that chapter number. And he showed me the chapter, and the title of the chapter was Retreat. And I was pissed off and I cursed him out. And I got up and I stomped out. But that was the word I needed to hear. And I drove around Miami and I said, I'm going down a rabbit hole and I have two choices. I can either climb out of it or go down to the bottom. I mean, what's it going to be, Bob? So I started to pull back from some of those excessive behaviors and went back to see him. And I asked him, what was that? And he said it was a Taoist practice. I said, what's Taoism? What's Taoism? What's that? He said, told me what it was. And they told me the practice was something called I Ching. And so I'm kind of interested in it. And I find out that my therapist is the English language editor, the disciple and student of Master I Ching, a 72nd generation Taoist priest from the Shaolin Temple in China.
What
Kung
are
Fu.
the odds?
What are the odds? The Shaolin that's Kung Fu, Tai Chi, all that. And this guy, I figured it out, 72 generations. That's like 1,400 years of handing wisdom down from father to son to father to son.
Yeah.
So he came to Miami. And Nicolette, I am sure that you have run into some people in your life that the moment you meet them, I don't want to be like maudlin about this or like, but it's like you want to sit at their feet and just say, teach me, teach me.
Yes, like Please, I'm
Please.
your protege. Take
Yeah.
me in.
Right, right. And that was like when I met him, that's what it was like. So I got to study with Master Ni for 6 years, and we had a little Taoist group, and he taught me how to live because my folks, all of their ancestors, all my ancestors had been wiped out by either the Bolsheviks or the Nazis. They came to the conclusion that there really couldn't be a loving God. So I never had any kind of religious background, but Taoism isn't really a God-based thing. There's no angels and demons. It's just it's an operating manual of how to live life.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one time we asked him why they call him Master Ni. What is the master?
Yeah.
And he said, and he was funny because you'd ask him a question like that and he'd just chuckle and he'd give you some strange answer and walk away.
And then left you thinking, what the heck has he just told me seconds ago?
Right.
And then, and then you go into this spiral of pondering or reflecting upon life if you've already gone through that awakening.
Right.
So
Right.
what was it
Exactly.
for you?
So when I said, why do they call you master? He says, because I have mastered life. Okay.
Okay.
So we finally went back and says, well, what does it look like to master life? And he said, when you have learned how to interfere with things the least and have the greatest impact, you have mastered life.
Oh,
Oh.
can we say that? Can you say
That
that again,
again.
Bob? Yeah.
When you have learned to interfere with things the least, yet have the greatest impact, you have mastered life. Wow. Poof. Yeah. Poof. So, so we spent a couple of years with figuring out what that looks like.
Uh-huh.
And the best thing that I could tell you, I mean, the metaphor that I like to use the most is if you're out in the ocean and you want to get to shore, you will notice that at times the water's going with you, it's going towards shore, and times it's going against you.
Mm.
And if you want to interfere the least and have the greatest impact, then you will notice when the water's going towards the shore and realize that it's helping you there and swim like heck. But when it turns around and goes against you, you don't want to burn energy uselessly and you don't want to be swept out to sea. So if you align yourself with the energy appropriately, you'll just put out enough energy to hold your position. You'll save up your energy because you know that the tide's going to change and it's going to go towards shore again. And when it does, you swim like heck and then hold and then swim like heck and then hold. And that way you will get to shore using the least amount of energy and be successful. You won't panic and drown. You won't get to shore totally exhausted. You'll get there with plenty of energy and reserves, and you will have accomplished your goal. So everything about Taoism is about learning what the flow around you is and how to align yourself with it to be efficient and effective at having the least interference. It's well, you've seen Tai Chi, right? You've seen people practice Tai Chi. Well, you know what they're doing. You see them go like this, and then they go like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that same metaphor of the way the ocean is, we all can get it. That day turns to night, night turns to day, winter turns to summer, and that there's an ever cycling of the universe. It's ever cycling. We all get that. That's easy.
Yeah.
What most people miss is that the good times and bad times in your life also cycle.
Bob, I needed to hear that from you today.
Yeah. So if when
Everything is
times are
cyclical.
good, you don't rest on your laurels and just enjoy it. You also, like a good chipmunk, right? Like a good squirrel, get some of the acorns and you'll put them away because you know that things are going to go down. So I need to use some of my energy to oh,
So we were at the part where you said Taoism is about conserving your energy for when things are not doing so
right.
great.
Yeah. So when things are not so great, then the appropriate thing is not to panic, but first to develop patience. You also want to have a tolerance for discomfort so that,
Mm,
you don't panic, and just, use the time to prepare for when things get better, because they will. And that's acting a little more appropriately, it's like sometimes you have a great idea and you want to share it with all your friends, but nobody wants to listen to you. They're all thinking about what they want to do this weekend, right?
yes.
So the non-Taoist way of doing things would be to force yourself. No, you got to listen to me.
Yeah.
The Taoist way is to back up and allow things to just develop. In the meantime, polish your idea a little bit more.
Offering
Yep.
the way you market.
Right? You buffer it, you polish it a little bit, and eventually they're going to turn around and say, now, what was it you wanted to say?
Yes.
And then you're prepared and ready to talk into their listening. So there's
Exactly.
all of these little gives and takes and times to punch through, times to wait, times to advance, times to retreat. And that's what, we talk about when we say going with the flow.
Mm.
First, you
It's
have to be able to identify the flow.
exactly. Now that's my question. How do you identify the flow? I'm sure you've had those times where you know that you need to rest because you know there's something big's happening or shifting, but then you can't quite get your finger on it because you're too used to just go, go, go. So help me out, Bob.
Yeah, yeah.
How?
So
Hi, I'm Nierras, your host of the Your Worthless podcast. Now, if these real raw stories hit home, don't wait. Please follow, like, and subscribe my Spotify and YouTube. For bite-sized inspirational reels, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Don't wait. Your transformation starts today. Thank you, and bye for now.
it's like the question that you're asking is like saying, what happens if you want to build up your shoulders and your biceps? You want to have nice guns. You want to have,
Yeah.
be able to.
Yeah.
So how do you do it? Well, you go to the gym and you exercise,
Uh-huh.
right?
Right.
So there are practices that teach these things, like the I Ching. When my therapist was throwing the coins,
Yes.
what interesting, the great therapist
Carl Young, I love
Carl
him. I
Jung,
love his work. I
he
love his
was
work.
fascinated with the I Ching.
Yes.
The I Ching means the classical book of changes. And by
Mm.
changes, it means the cycling of the universe. So where are you on the cycle? Because it's always going to change. So that's what the I Ching teaches. And so what he was doing when he was throwing the coins, and what Carl Jung discovered, is that the I Ching is not an oracle and it's not a fortune telling device or anything like that. What it does is you'll ask a question like, what do I need to know about the job interview I'm going to have later today? And what generally happens is our rational mind, our verbal mind, it starts going on with all of that, you're worthless stuff.
Yeah.
And the committee in my head is telling me all about, you got to do this and you got to do that, and don't let them know this, and be careful about that.
Imposter syndrome.
The imposter syndrome, all that's going on here. But meanwhile, the real answer to your question, what do I need to know about the interview? You already know the answer. It's just stuck in the intuitive part of your brain, that part of your intelligence that already knows the right answer. Now, the trick is we got to get it over from the left side to the right side.
Yeah.
So the I Ching practice of throwing the coins and doing the math is a way of occupying your verbal mind so that the committee in your head is shut out because you're doing math. You can't do math and hear that voice in your head at the same time. So
Oh my gosh.
occupies that part of your brain and allows the intuitive part of your brain to work on the question that you asked. Then when it gives you some numbers and it directs you to read portions of the book.
Oh my God.
As you read the portions of the book, your intuitive mind is selecting the words that it needs to communicate over to the right side of your brain. So it actually acts as a bridge between the left and right side of your brain. But in the meantime, it's teaching you about the times, and the I Ching breaks up the times, the flow, into 64 pie slices, and they all have names. So as you practice, as you do this practice, you throw the coins every day. You get up in the morning and you say, "What do I need to know about today?" And you throw the coins, and
Is it the
the read.
coin with the square in the middle?
It can be quarters or dimes or pennies or any coin.
Any coins?
Yeah,
Okay. How
I
do
mean
we
the
how do
way
we do that? Can you demonstrate? Do you practice?
if I had
Okay.
some coins,
I have a question, Bob. I have a
but
question
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
that I'm gonna ask when you do the coins. Can you do it for me, or I have
Could
to
we
do it
actually
myself?
do it?
Yeah,
I
is
I
that
would
possible? I'm sorry to put you on the
I would
spot
need
here.
some coins. I don't know if I have any coins right
Or
here.
or or Bob, I could just select. I have a number in my head.
Do you have any coins?
Oh yeah. Okay. You know what? Let me. Well, I can always edit this part out. So I'm gonna take some coins. Just give me 1 second.
Okay.
Becoming a podcast host was a natural extension of my second act. Now, after spending 15 years in the corporate world, I've transitioned to helping individuals overcome challenges like navigating tough relationships, career burnout, and aligning their mission with their soul's calling. By certifying as an RTT hypnotherapist and a lifestyle coach, I've made it my mission to empower people to recreate the life they deserve and building a supportive community through my podcast. Now, let me ask, are you facing challenges like struggling to reprogram your mind to attract wealth, weight issues that feel like a constant yo yo, insomnia or restless nights from daily worries, or just a lack of confidence in public speaking? If the answer is yes, visit www.thenierrasholisticlifestyle.com and grab a free hypnosis audio of these common struggles. It's a sneak peek into how my coaching works. Are you feeling shy? Don't be, because I'm as real as it gets. Let's connect on Instagram and LinkedIn and start your transformation today.
Okay.
You got
I
3 coins.
have 4,
Okay, I just need
and
3. I just need
you
3.
just need 3. Okay. I
Okay,
got
now
3. I held.
the first thing that we have to figure out is what is the question that we're asking.
Do I say it out?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we
Okay.
can say it out.
Okay. Can I sell my car at the right price that I'm looking for?
Okay. So that's a question that is asking for a yes or no answer. Can I do this?
Right. Uh.
The I
Well.
Ching
Okay.
the I Ching will never answer that. What
Oh. Okay. So how do I phrase it then? Okay.
the way that you phrase it is, what do I need to know about selling my car?
Okay.
Now
Right.
it's an open-ended question. Okay. Now
Right.
you're open for advice.
Okay.
Okay. So you say,
Okay.
what do I need to know about selling my car? So now
Yeah.
take the 3 coins
Okay. I
and
have them.
kind of shake them up and drop them on the table
Okay.
and tell me how many heads and how many tails.
Wait. The head is 2.
Okay. And 1
2.
tail, right? So that adds up to, I'll explain why, but that adds up to 7. And 7 is an odd number that makes it a yang. And since it's a 7, it's a young yang. So I'm drawing a yin yang. So now do it again.
Do it
Don't
again?
worry. Do it again. We're going to do it 6 times.
Ooh, okay.
Because we got to keep that mind occupied. So do it again and tell me what you get.
Same.
So you got 2 heads and 1 tail.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 heads and 1 tail.
So that's also a yin yang. Do it again.
Oh, okay. Do I need to shake it or just?
That better.
Ooh. Okay, so 2 tails, 1 head.
See, that's a yang yin. Okay. Don't
Okay.
worry about it. Just do it again.
3 heads.
3 heads. So it's 2, 4,
Yeah.
6. That's a old yin. Okay.
Okay.
2 more times.
2 heads, 1 tail.
2 heads and 1 tail. 2, 4. That's 7. That's the 7 again. Okay. And 1 more time.
2 heads and 1 tail.
2 heads and 1 tail. It's another 7. Okay. What we drew, so what we drew was, I'll draw it so you can see.
Sorry to make you.
No. This is fun. I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Okay. I'm loving it too. I love
Okay.
all this stuff.
So
Okay.
what we drew, that's
Okay, I see
what
this.
we drew.
Right.
But
Right.
the one which has a dot, that's an old yang. That's an old yin. So it's going to turn to a yang. So we're going to
Okay.
create another thing. So
Okay.
don't worry about, I'll explain it all later.
I'm like, my head's full of question mark here.
Okay. So now what we got is something that looks like this. See how the one that was the broken line turned into a straight line?
Yeah,
It changed. It
Yeah, it
changed.
changed.
And it changed into something else. Okay. So now we're going to go to a chart. All right. We're going to go to a chart.
I'm excited.
And the chart. And by the way, this book here is one of my favorite books, and it tells you all about how to do it. See how it has the pictures, heads, tails, everything.
Right.
Okay, so now we're going to go to a chart that looks like this.
Okay.
Okay. And we're going to, without explaining it too much, we break it into the lower 3 and the upper 3, and that has a significance. But let me see. So the lower 3 here is Pui, then broken straight. See how I'm occupied with math?
Yeah.
So all this time I've been occupied with math and figuring things out and looking at a chart, and then this one's okay, and then this one is Pui, and it changes to Chen 10. Okay, so what we got here, the way that we would say this is that we have chapter 61 with the changing line in the 4th place, which then converts to chapter 10. So that is a reading which we're now asked to read. So now we would go to chapter 61.
Oh my God, I love this stuff.
We go to 61. See?
Okay.
That's chapter 61. And chapter 61, the name of chapter 61 is Insight. Insight. This has a flavor to it. This is a time. Remember, these are 64 pie slices of the different times of your life. So this is a time of insight. Now, what the relationship is between 61 and 10 and what force the 4th line has, that's all subject to interpretation. That's all you. That's all your intuitive mind speaking to you. Whether the 61 is the current situation with a force of the 4th line acting on it, changing to 10, which is the future, or whether the 61 is the general situation and the 10 is a more precise or definite, whether it is a warning or whether it is an applause. All of that is your intuitive mind speaking to you. Okay? So it's all a matter of interpretation. But 61, it says that insight moves even pigs and fish. is good fortune. It's advantageous to experience the collective flow, and there is further advantage in correct persistence. There is further advantage in correct persistence. So rather than reading through the whole thing, let me just look. This is a close achievement insight to bring about. So what it's saying is, this is a time to look within and realize that there are probably emotional forces acting on you, and
My
that
God.
you want to have some insight into what is emotional and what is um, appropriate for the circumstance to solve the problem, and they may not be the same thing. So, okay, so that's a time of insight, is a time of looking within and trying to sort out what's emotional and what's rational and the like. Um, says be totally open and unprejudiced towards the object of your inquiry. In other words, don't go with the idea that I should buy this. Be open-minded. Don't be biased already and have made up your mind, and tell yourself that you're not making up your mind, even though you have made up your mind.
Right.
Don't be fooled by thinking that you haven't made up your mind. You should have enough insight to realize that you may have a bias that's influencing you, and you want to try to operate outside of that bias. And this takes this takes sitting with it. Basically, insight is sitting with your thoughts and sorting them out. Okay. So that's the 61. Now, that changing line, which is in the fourth position of 61, says in Taoism, they often talk about the superior person and the inferior person, but that doesn't mean somebody outside of yourself. It means your better angels and your other angels. It means the things inside you that may want to do things that may be not helpful or even harmful, as opposed to the superior person, which always the inferior person looks for short-term goals. The superior person looks for long-term goals. The inferior person looks to take care of their hunger. The superior person takes care to look out for their fitness. So it says the fourth line, turn your attention to the superior person or a noble ideal and attempt to gain insight from that. So, just be aware, that there are these different forces within you. Some of them, now, inferior forces can be okay. Like, let's say that you're got a lot of things that you've got to do on your plate. You've got a lot of things that you've got to finish, tasks to perform, but you're tired. You say, I just want to go to the movies. So that might be an inferior feeling, but it's okay to cater to it in the right time.
Right.
You need to go to the movie, take a break, and then you can come back. So it doesn't, inferior doesn't necessarily mean bad. It just means not
Like succumbing to it at
like,
the expense of the longer term goals.
things. So that's a force. That is something that's working on it. And then it resolves into hexagram number 10. The name of that is conduct. So it says conduct is the image is stepping on the tail of a tiger. It does not bite. There will be progress. So it means that what the I Ching is basically suggesting to you, or what I'm getting out of it, is that it says you need to sit and sort out, the difference between your rational thinking and what makes sense for you, and sort that out from your emotions, and try to pay attention to the bigger, more lofty goals. And if you do that, whatever you do, whatever decision you make, even if it's not exactly the right decision, it's going to be okay. As long as you're okay with it, it's going to be okay. Even if you step on the tail of the tiger, it's not going to turn around and bite you. you know?
Okay. The first part, when you
Mhm.
explain it, I got it. I
Mhm.
felt like, okay, I know what I need to do. But in the second part, it made me kind of rethink that exactly when you said, whatever decision that I take, it's going to be okay.
If you're okay with it.
Yeah, if I'm okay with it, regardless.
Yeah. In other
So-
words, if you have the insight and you sort it out and you pay attention to your better angels, okay? Then whatever decision you make is going to be okay, because ultimately the truth of the matter is if you're okay with it, it's going to be okay. If you do it and you wind up regretting it because you haven't thought it through, if you're not okay with it, whatever decision you make is not going to be okay.
Yeah.
So basically what it's saying is get straight with it, and then you'll make a decision. Sometimes decisions work out well and sometimes they don't, but you don't have to really worry about that too much. If you take care in the beginning to sort the stuff out, then the decision that you make is going to be fine as long as you're fine with it, which is the truth.
Yeah, which is the truth.
Yeah, I mean, there are things that I've done that I could have made a more effective or efficient decision. It wound up costing me money or it cost me time but I say, well, we make mistakes in life. I mean, that's just part of living too. So it's saying it's not a big deal if you make a mistake. So don't worry about it too
Don't
much.
dwell too much.
Just get straight with yourself about it.
Okay. I love that insight.
Yeah.
Those insights. It's really training my intuition too, because I already know the answer.
Yeah, you already knew the answer.
I knew it, but then with me, I like to have that validation, like, because if I made a decision and then the decision doesn't turn out to be what I had planned the outcome will be, then, you have this you guilt trip yourself by saying, oh, why did you do that? And then you feel hopeless. And then you feel if it gets you into a certain, you lose money or maybe you get into a bad relationship, I'll be like, I told you so.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Right.
feel worthless.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Because if you had known this, if you had followed what you feel that is right from the beginning, you wouldn't have gone through on this path.
Right. And maybe what it's also pointing to, everything that you're describing there is true for the particular situation, but it also takes on a life of its own and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy where you start to worry about the outcome before the outcome gets here. And the worry about the outcome actually interferes with your decision making. So it
It's
becomes
now attracting.
self-fulfilling.
Yes.
It's self-fulfilling because the actual pattern of doing it interferes with your ability to make decisions, and it promotes and supports the process, which is not helpful.
Yeah.
So it's also pointing to that about having the insight and on a deeper level. So even on various levels, it's advising you that not only is this about the car,
Yeah.
but it's also about the process that you go through when making decisions.
Yes. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
So you can imagine that if you got up every morning, now what did we spend 15 minutes maybe on this, right?
Yes.
And what is available, I mean, the wisdom that comes out of it is certainly worth my 15 minutes and in your 15 minutes.
Yes.
So can you imagine if you got up every morning and you say, what do I need to know about today? Just as I'm going to the gym of my mind, and you had this practice and you did this every day, and every day you started to, now I know about the time of insight, and tomorrow I might learn about the time of attraction. I might learn about the time of deterioration, the time of prospering, the time of conflict, the time of penetrating influence, the time of subordination. So there's all of these different times. And after a while, when you practice this on a daily basis, you begin to own the names so that when you're going through your day, you run into a time, and because you practice, you can feel and you understand what a time of conflict, what it looks like, what it
What
tastes
it
like,
looks
what it
like.
feels
Yeah,
like.
feels like
So now
you
during the
know when
day,
to
you're
retract
in
or
it,
when to stand on your ground. Yeah.
and you go, I'm in a time of conflict. So now I know how to better align myself with it because I've practiced it while I've been having my coffee in the morning in a safe place. I've been practicing how to deal with conflict in my mind. So now when it comes up in life, I'm all ready for it.
Gosh, where can I get the book? Is it like available? I'm gonna check a
I
local
like
bookstore.
this book. I like this one. I like
What
this
is
one
that? The Illustrated I Ching. Ooh,
by
okay.
R.L. Wing. I think
R.L.
this
Wing.
is the best book for a beginner
Okay.
because it has all of the instructions. It has the chart. It's got all the instructions. It's even got pictures. It's got pictures of the coins and how you draw the lines, and explains what the lines mean. So it's a great book for a beginner. Later on, there's hundreds of translations, just like there's hundreds of translations of the Tao Te Ching. There's
So
hundreds.
this was translated from the Chinese
Mhm,
dynasty and to
mhm,
English right now.
mhm.
Oh wow, how remarkable. And what are the odds of me interviewing you? I've encountered, or rather dove into learning about Taoism during my own spiritual awakening as well. And I love the idea of Carl Jung,
Mhm,
Alan Watts, and all
mhm.
those people. And right now, I feel like I'm at this precipice of my life where I need to wait. I know if I wait it out, that those is gonna come in avalanche, or the opportunities, or whatever, the good things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But right now, it's like something you can be tired of waiting.
Mhm.
But then you being tired of waiting also mean that, are you really going in the flow? Because that's the paradox, right? If you're tired, meaning you're waiting on the outcome, whereas you should be detaching yourself from the outcome while you go on with your life. So
Right. And a lot of that lives in the world of not knowing what you don't know.
yes,
Like
yes,
we just talked about something which divides and identifies flows according to a bunch of characteristics. And before we started this conversation, you did not even know that you didn't know that. You didn't know that
mm,
you didn't know it. And because you didn't know that you didn't know it, you didn't have any way of learning it.
mm,
A Master Ni
yeah,
once said that he told us there are things that exist in the world of not knowing that you don't know about them. And the trick is that you want to find out about them and you move them from that world into the world of knowing that you don't know.
being
First,
aware that
first
there's
you don't know that
world that
you
you
don't
don't know.
know that you don't know.
Yes,
Now I know that I don't know. And from there, I can learn about it and move it into knowing that I know it.
yeah,
So I don't know that I don't know
okay,
to I know that I don't know to I know.
yes. Oh, okay. Now I have a homework. I gotta go and order an I Ching book.
It's out of print. So he does have one, I think, that's still in print that's called the I Ching workbook by the same
I Ching
person.
workbook.
I
Okay,
Ching workbook, and it's just as good.
okay. I'd like maybe an ebook of it. I'm sure it's available like
I
online,
don't know.
right?
It's out of print.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
But it's so funny, like, because I had this impending question in my head, like, what do I need to do about certain things? I have certain projects on the way, and then this thing about the car and whatnot. And now this topic of Taoism resurfaces itself. It's like, okay, maybe there's something you need to look at if you really have question. Like, I have this hunger for it. I want to know. I want to know. I want to know.
I
And now,
understand.
and then you're giving that to me. Like, I
You
mean,
know what I can do for you?
what's that?
Send me your email address,
Okay.
and I will send you. I have copied this book onto a PDF.
No.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now I can't
That was
email
okay.
it to you because it's too big, but I can
Right.
send you a link to download it.
Right. Yes. I meant actually I meant that. It's like an ebook or a PDF version of it. Oh my god.
Yeah, I have a PDF version of it.
That's the angel talking to me. Okay. We hear you. We got you.
Okay.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, Bob. So what are you working on currently that besides Taoism? And you're an author and you're also you speak or you teach at Elon University, right?
Right.
So what are you working on? What's
Well,
exciting for you right now?
I'm teaching meditation to college kids, and I have
Chef's
my own.
kiss.
Huh?
Chef's kiss. Yes, they need to know meditation.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And so I have my own private practice, and I'm not trying to, I have, I have a steady stream of students, but I'm really working on teaching people about meditation because there are so many misconceptions about what meditation is. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've had a conversation that goes like this. You teach meditation. Yep, I teach meditation. Oh, I really need meditation, but I tried it and I can never do that because the moment I try to sit down, my mind goes nuts and I get all these thoughts and I can't stop the thoughts. I can't quiet my mind. I'll never be able to do that. And I would love to, metaphorically, I would love to grab them and shake them and go, no, 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 no. It's not about quieting your mind. Nobody can quiet their mind. It's not about that. It's about befriending the craziness in your mind. It's about actually allowing the mind to do all the stuff that it does. It's about allowing it. It's not about trying to stop it. So the moment you noticed that your mind was thinking about a bunch of stuff and that you couldn't quiet it, at that moment, you were doing the perfect meditation. You were meditating at that moment.
Wait, what? What? Can you repeat that again, Bob?
Yeah. So what meditation is not about quieting the mind. It's about allowing the mind to go about its crazy business and allowing all of that craziness and thoughts and all of that stuff to go on, but watching it happen instead of just being in it.
Catching yourself thinking about it.
Not even catching yourself. Because that's like it's something that I shouldn't be doing. And you can't not be doing it. See, initially, just like you say, everybody has this feeling that there's something wrong with the mind going blah, 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 blah. But the reason that your mind does that is because we evolved in the jungle. And in the jungle, danger can come from any place. It could be a snake. It could be a tiger. It could be a wild boar. It could be an enemy tribe. Anything could come out of the jungle at you. And so in order to survive, the mind developed this scanning mechanism where we scan our environment. So when your mind goes off blah, blah, blahing, it is the modern equivalent of scanning for danger. It's built into us. It's evolutionary. It's what we do. It's what minds do. You don't stop it. You can't stop it. Okay. But what you can do is you can, because it is an evolutionary attribute that developed in a time that's no longer the time that we're in. We're not in the jungle anymore. So we have to understand what's going on in our mind so that we can adapt ourselves to the current situation. And it's not about stopping the mind. I'm getting way too, hold on. Let me
I love that.
back up a second. So Nicolette, you have been
Yes.
in a situation before where you have intended to be listening to somebody, and then all of a sudden you realize that you haven't been listening to them, right?
Yes. Yes.
So all the time, happens all the time. That's
Almost all
meditation.
the time.
That is meditation. That's what you do when you meditate.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what you do. That's meditation. The only difference is that when it happens in your life, it just happens. When it happens and you're meditating, you're noticing that it happens. That's the only difference. Okay. So do you notice when,
So say Bob. So for
yeah,
example, now I'm listening to you, but then suddenly my mind just drifted off to me needing to buy a plane ticket.
right, exactly. That's what happens. So that needing to buy the plane ticket is our modern day snake and tiger. It's the danger that is out there in the world that if I don't take care of it, something bad will happen. If I left the stove on, if I didn't go shopping, if I missed that deadline, if that's our modern day snakes and tigers, and we're just scanning and we're just thinking about them. And the only problem is that when it was a snake or a tiger, we could identify it and we knew how to deal with it. In today's chronic anxiety that we have, it's because we can't identify the source and therefore we can't resolve it. So we're always looking for the source and we can never find it. And so our mind's always going blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Yes.
did you notice that when you noticed that you weren't listening to this person, there was a very subtle, very faint sensation of startle.
Yeah.
It was like you said to yourself, I'm not listening, right?
Yeah. Yes.
It's like for that little moment, you like woke up.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we do in meditation is we say, okay, I'm going to pay attention to this candle. And I'm going to tell myself that I want to pay attention to the candle. And just like when you stop listening to the guy, your mind went, hey, you, hey, you said you were going to listen to this guy. You're not listening to him. What's that all about? Right? It's like your
Yeah.
mind is telling you this, like you're not doing
Yes.
what you said you wanted to do. It's
Yeah.
like there's a little alarm. Your mind wants to do what you want it to do. But then we have this evolutionary like attribute that gets in the way. So eventually your mind will say, whoa, hey, you wanted to listen to this guy. So I want to pay attention to the candle. So now your mind goes off into a fog of
Yeah.
rumination and projection, thinking about what happened in the past and what's going to happen in the future and
Yeah.
catastrophizing and all that. So you're off in that, but then it goes, hey, you said you wanted to pay attention to the candle. Okay. So when that happens, I know I'm kind of going in a lot of different directions, but it's the
I
only
love
way. So it's like you say, I'm going to go home, and you get in your car and your car drives you home, right?
Yeah. Just
You don't have to think about it. You just lost in your
exactly.
fog and you're home.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. But if another car gets a little too close to your car,
Yeah.
all of a sudden it gets your attention, right?
Yes.
Okay. Think of that word attention. It gets your attention. So now we got two states of mind. Either we're in the fog or we're got attention. We're putting our attention on something. And we kind of go back and forth between this all day. We're just lost in the fog. And then we give it something our attention. Think of the word attention. It means we're attending to something. We're taking care of something. We're attending to it. So that car came a little close. I'm attending to it. I'm figuring now, what do I need to do? Do I need to move away? Or what do I need to slow down, speed up? I'm attending to it. So that's what we call being awake. We're awake or we're in the fog. And it's okay. It's okay to be in the fog. There's nothing wrong. I don't want to be awake all the time. It's too exhausting.
Yes.
I want the car to drive me home.
Yeah.
I don't need to spend mental energy on that. So it's
Mhm.
okay. It's just that I wish that I had a little bit more say in the matter of when I'm attending and when I'm in the fog. I wish I was a
And the
little more skillful about being in the fog and attending. And so when I say I want to pay attention to the candle and then my mind goes off like it just went off with you, then your mind says, you said you were going to pay attention to the candle. Well, what happens is you kind of wake up and then you get a flood of judgments. Oh, I should have been doing it. I did it wrong. I didn't concentrate. I lost my focus, blah, 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 blah. Then eventually all that stuff quiets down. And then you go back and you pay attention to the candle again. And then 3 seconds later, your mind goes off again.
yes.
Right? And then you
Yeah.
go, oh, I'm supposed to be paying attention to the candle. And you come back and then it goes off again. And the healing does not come in maintaining focus. That's not where the healing happens. The healing comes in waking up and coming back and beginning again. That's where the healing occurs. That's where you begin to learn how to tolerate discomfort. That's where you learn how to let the judgments quiet down. That's how you learn to allow yourself to do things. You develop all of these skills, which are radical skills, which we don't do every day in life. We don't allow ourselves, we don't give ourselves space. We don't, look at our judgments and kind of giggle about them. So if you do this practice, you start to learn what it feels like to be awake, what it feels like to be in the fog, what our judgments start looking like. And you start to step out of being your thoughts to not being your thoughts, to having thoughts. I mean, don't
To
we say
observing.
to observing your thoughts? I mean, in our language, don't we normally say, hey, Nicolette, I had this idea. I have this thought. I had this thought. Well, if you had the thought, who is the I that's having the thought? There is an I there. We have just become so disconnected to the creator of our thoughts, to the database that is the foundation of our thoughts. And it's been so overwhelmed by the conditioning of life that you're worthless
Yeah.
and the conditioning that's been over on it, that once we can step out of our thoughts and have thoughts, not be thoughts, and we can start thinking, well, who is this me? Who is this guy that's having all these thoughts? And I start to reconnect with the creator of my thinking, all of a sudden the chains of the conditioning start to fall away. And I start to realize, hey, man, I am free to create the me that I want to be. I am free. That's where freedom comes. That's where you really become free. And then what you do with it, that's your choice. If you want to use it and waste it, then you can. But if you want to use it to create the life that you want to live, the life of your dreams, if you want to do that, you're free to do it.
You just dropped, I think, the whole course on meditation 101. Bob, you are on a lot of podcasts, right? I'm pretty sure
Oops, I lost your voice. Okay, you're back.
even Riverside is like, wow, the topic today is like super, super
Now wait,
out of this world.
where are
Yeah.
you?
I'm here. Can you see
Here,
me?
I got you. Is
Okay.
it possible for me to put a video on? Is it possible? Oops, I lost you again.
Hello, Bob.
I got you back. All
Okay.
right. Is that possible for me to put a video on?
Oh, of course. Yes, please.
Let me see if I
Let's
can.
see if you could do share screen.
Yeah, let me I got to find it first. Hold on. Um,
I'm getting a one-to-one teaching from you. You teach this to your student, right? I don't even need to be enrolled at Elon University, and here I am.
okay, where did I?
Is there a feature?
Huh? Yeah, I just can't remember where I hit it.
Okay.
It's not. I should. Dang, let me just look here. All right, let me see if now I'll go back to you. Let me see, share screen. Speaker, stay, share screen. All right. Select tab to share. Okay. Yep, there. I don't know. Can you see that or not? I don't know. Oops. Wow. What happened?
That's the loop of life.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't look right. Let's stop sharing.
Yeah, and then I think you should go to your window.
Share screen. Oh, there it is. Here we go. Media player. Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Now let's see if you can hear it. Now, how do I make it play? Here we go.
Oh, no, I can't hear it. I think you need to click that. There's a tick mark that says to share audio prior to sharing.
Gotta go back.
Yeah.
Okay. Now share presentation.
Yeah, and then there's a checkbox that says share
Upload
audio.
a slide presentation. No, that's not it. Not now. Share screen. Also share tab audio.
Yes, that one.
Okay, that's on. Okay. Window. I lost it. I'm sorry. I wish that.
That's okay.
It's supposed to. Can you hear it? Can you hear it?
No, I can't. Yeah, I think this is
I,
well, that's okay. You can send me this as well.
I'll send you the link.
The link and then the PDF version of I Ching.
But I'll tell you, can you see it?
I can see it. I can see it.
So what he's telling you right now is it just your mind goes crazy. So he says, as soon as you sit down, your mind goes crazy. You start thinking about, what that guy said and everything else is going to go nuts. And that's fine. The whole thing is to notice it and then return and begin again. And again and again and again. He says this is like a bicep curl for your brain. And it makes you, it's a radical act because it's not what you do in your everyday life. So I'll send you the link.
Yes. Wow. That.
But I'll tell you, let me tell you another little story. So in one of my classes, one of my students talk about feeling worthless. This is right up the alleyway of this podcast. So she comes, and of course, anybody that takes the class, they do it voluntarily because it's not required. It's an elective. So they choose to take it because they figure they could use it and they want the benefit. And the way that I teach it is we meet in class once a week, but then I have an app that was developed at Duke University, and the app has the guided meditations on it, and they do the guided meditation, and then a log comes up and they write like how it was for them, that 10 minutes.
Right.
And every single morning that log comes to my dashboard. I get up at 4:00 in the morning and I read all the 15 every single day. I read all 15 logs and I answer them, and they go back to their app. And before they do their next practice the next day, they get my feedback.
Right.
So they get coaching every single day for
Wow.
5 weeks. And it's just crazy effective. Anyway, I noticed that she's not sending in logs. Well, what's that all about? You took it because you wanted the benefits. And I'm sure you understand that just like a gym, you can't just look at the machines. You got to get on them.
Yes.
So she starts out saying, yeah, I know it's really weird. I always seem to know what, I need to do and what's going to be helpful, but then I don't do it. We start going through that and using some meditation tools like, what is the exact language that you hear? What's the voice in your head? What are the words? Not don't describe them to me. Tell me what the words are. And so, she's struggling with trying to get that. And then she says, well, the thing is, it seems like I always sabotage myself. So we continue on looking for the words and asking her to describe to me what those patterns are. And then all of a sudden she breaks down. She starts crying. It's like a flood of tears. And she says, I just don't think that I deserve to be happy. Wow. So I'm not there as a therapist. I'm there as a meditation teacher. So we don't use therapy tools. We use meditation tools. So I start asking her, I see that you're crying. I see that you're emotional. Tell me where in your body you're feeling it. She goes, what do you mean? I said, where in your body? What do you mean? Where? I just keep repeating, where in your body? So she goes, well, all over. I said, well, yeah, I know. I'm sure you feel like a pressure all over, but I'm sure that there's some place where you're feeling this. Well, my eyes, anyway. So with a little gentle pushing, because it's a weird question. Where in your body are you feeling this? It's weird. So after she got past the weirdness, she actually identified a spot that was like 2 inches underneath her collarbone. What? She says, not my heart. It's not my heart. It's like this place right here. And that's where I feel it. I said, okay. And then I said, do you notice that you're not crying anymore? And then she looked at me and she was perfectly calm. I said, well, when you're upset, you're thinking about all of the history that you've had. You're ruminating about all of the history, and you're out in the future catastrophizing about the fact that it's always going to be like that. But when you start thinking about what were the words I was using and where do I feel it in your body, you're in the present moment, because you can only feel things. You can only have a physical sensation in the present moment. You can't have a physical sensation in the future.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So once she left the future and left the past and she came into the present moment, she realized that there was nothing to be upset about right now, right here.
Right now, yeah.
Everything that she's upset about's in the past or in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So she goes, oh, that's what they mean when they're talking about being in the
No, yeah.
present, being in the now. So yeah, I said, yeah, that's what they're talking about. And then we started talking about how emotions are nothing really more than a physical sensation and a thought. Because if I said, Nicolette, I love you, but I didn't feel a yearning, I didn't have a physical sensation, it would just be an intellectual comment.
Exactly.
And if I had the physical sensation, but I didn't have the thought, then it would be more like indigestion.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
But when you put the two together, it's emotion. And if you can
Energy in motion.
deconstruct them, right? If you can deconstruct it, then you can manage it. And at the end of the class, she was logging every day. And in her final reflection, she told me that she was going to take that into the rest of her life. So that's the power that this practice has. And you don't need any special equipment, and it doesn't cost anything, and you don't have to leave your house, and there's not a lot of physical exertion, and you don't have to do sit-ups or planks.
Yeah.
And it makes a huge difference.
Try it.
Try
Do
it.
it. Do it. Wow, Bob. This has been, I think, back to back. I've been having episodes which are super, super insightful. And I think it's more of for me to apply in my own life. And of course, for my listeners too. And the way we are connected, it's like, because I believe in frequency, vibration. So if I'm in pursuit of this type of knowledge, that means, and there's that recipient or somebody who's giving that kind of information to me as well, that makes it.
Hold on a second.
Do you have
I think I got something coming up here. Hold on.
No, okay. So
Yeah. Hold on. Let me just look.
Okay. We can wrap it up. Yeah. We took about 1.5 hours.
Oh yeah, I do. I have something at 9:00.
Okay. So.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Well, Bob, thank you so much for that insightful interview. Now, where can people reach out to you if they want to?
It would be, you can send me an email, you can look at my books, and you can get a free downloadable introduction to meditation. It's free and it's downloadable ebook at awiseandhappylife.com.
Awesome. Awesome. So there you have it, everyone. A huge thank you to you, Bob, and to all of you for listening. This is Bob Martin, and I am your host, Nick Nierras. Remember, you are not worthless. You are enough and you are worthy. Keep shining and keep growing. So thank you, Bob, and to all listeners. See you in the next episode. Thank you, Bob. Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye-bye now. Hi, Bob. Good morning to you. How are you?
And good morning to you. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
Thank you so much, Bob, for saying yes to be interviewed today. I mean, when you reached out, when I read your profile, this is a person that has actually lived the life that I am currently living. Why I say that? It's because I too pivoted a couple of times right now. In fact, I'm in my second act, podcasting and being a hypnotherapist at it. So much to unpack. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Nicolette. I am the creator for the podcast titled You're Worthless. Read that again. The juxtaposition of your very soul. Now, for our listeners, we have Bob here with us. From a high-powered mob lawyer during Miami's wild cocaine cowboy days to a certified meditation teacher with a master of social work to go with his JD. This is a guest with a story that is as extraordinary as entertaining and fun. Bob here has helped hundreds redesign their thinking of life for the life they dream of. His journey is anything but ordinary. Now, he is a 2-time published author and professor of wellness at Elon University. Bob blends Taoist wisdom, I Ching. Interesting. Brain science, psychology, and humor to tackle everything from breaking free of limiting beliefs to finding clarity and resilience in life's chaos. Welcome, Bob, to the show.
Thank you so much. And I think that humor is the most important piece of all of that.
Yes. Laughter is the best medicine. I live by that. Yes.
Love this episode? Now, transformation doesn't end here. Head on to @holistic.lifestyle_with Nick. That is on my Instagram. Or head on to my website, www.thenicknierras.holisticlifestyle.com for more info on my coaching framework, which is the Worthy, Authentic, and Abundant Framework, digital guides, and my upcoming events such as retreats and master classes and workshops. Now, I also do intuitive readings where